Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Miss Sarah, drive safe. Look at you, multitasker.
Game devil.
Look at her. Don't worry about muting yourself. You're scaring me because you're. I feel like your phone is covering the speed limit right now. So drive safe, Miss Sarah. All right, I'm gonna let a few more people in real quick. But happy Wednesday, everyone. We are live on Facebook, so if you're watching on Facebook, hello. Feel free to hop on to ask questions. But every Wednesday, Best Homes has a workshop at 10 a.m. Typically, they're about skill building. Today, it's going to be very informative about a loan program that's out there. I think a lot of us had a party, a little drink or two on the fact that down payment assistance is back. So there's some top agents who I've been seeing out there whose business has been going up because those people that were on pause because they couldn't take advantage of down payment assistance now can. So today we have George from Best Rate Home Loans and Todd Pierce covering the process of the one, what it's all about too. So I think we do have a mixture of agents today, of brand new agents, people who work with down payment assistance, and of course some tenured agents on here. So I will leave it all to George from here. But George, if you don't mind introducing yourself and tell us a little bit just about the workshop, and of course introducing your partners who will be educating us today on the subject.
Yeah, for those that don't know me yet, I'm George Barrientos, loan officer with Best Rate Home Loans. And I wanted to jump on today and just go over our Chenoa product, which is our down payment assistance. I think Chenoa is heavily underutilized, specifically in the Arizona market. And a lot of LOs don't really brand it. They focus on other ones. And I think it's the best down payment assistance program available. So I brought on my partners with Orion Lending. I believe they're the #1 lender that originates the Chenoa product in America. So Todd, you got the floor.
Well, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you folks today and share a little bit about what Chenoa can do for you. Yeah, kind of just piggybacking on that. Chenoa does separate itself from all the other DPA programs, and we have been associated with the Chenoa outfit for some time and are their #1 funder in the nation. The DPA process with Chenoa is a little different. If you have been familiar with some of the DPA opportunities out there, I can just tell you, I see them all now as everybody else on Chenoa. Everybody else, the DPA agency that you're working with, provides a great opportunity. What they do though is they just get their claws and their hooks and their guidelines into the first mortgage. And from my experience, that truly separates the experience of the process. With Chenoa and with us, that process is much more, it's identical. Your first mortgage is an FHA first mortgage, and the process is identical. So that enables us to bring in a lot more clients. We'll go over some basic qualifying parameters on this. And what it enables is basically everybody qualifies initially for the program. I don't have any DTI limitations across the board. I do have a 600 minimum credit score, which is much more advantageous than a lot of the other programs out there. And, for us, we've just find that it's a much easier loan for people to incorporate into their processes than trying to navigate and duck and weave with all the other guidelines that come in play. There's no second signs on these. The investors is not double checking what we work. We get the loan started, we approve the loan, we close the loan as FHA loan. From George's standpoint, the processing, the operation, it just makes it so much easier of a process than trying to deal with the intricacies of a particular DPA program. So with that said, what I'd like to do is just go ahead and I am going to go ahead and share the guidelines. I have started doing these informational seminars for real estate agents because I think it's critical in this time right now. I really enjoyed your guys' excitement on having the DPA programs back because yes, we did lose them for a bit. It got a little dicey. They are making their way back. I'll just be plain and honest with you. They're not back 100% yet, but what we have now is definitely a benefit and is putting people in homes. So with that said, let's just take a look at a couple of the quick little pieces that I think that you guys can help you out. So, let's get this out of the way right now. You may hear in the DPA market repayable and forgivable. Most all the ones out there that have all the intense guidelines on them are some sort of a forgivable situation that may or may not have a payment associated on the second. A lot of them do actually have payments associated. I can tell you that we're set up to run both kinds of DPAs, both the repayable second and a forgivable. I will tell you right now in the market, the forgivable is not providing any benefit with Chenoa that can top the repayable. I'm going to talk for a minute about the whole forgivable marketing concept, to be honest with you. But in reality, you'll learn that the only benefit of a forgivable DPA is in qualifying amount. Without that first mortgage, without that second mortgage payment, you can actually qualify for a little more. With that second coming into play, it is going to affect a little bit that your homeowner is allowed to qualify for. And of course, we all want everybody out there with the max buying power. With that said, with the pricing available on the forgivable, the market just hasn't come back to the place where we can offer that. I can tell you we have both a 3.5% and a 5% package available, with 99% of loans coming in at the 5%. The 600 minimum credit score encompasses almost all your borrower. And here's the big piece right here, connected with the DPA loans and eligibility. You hear a lot of people talking about AMI and income and stuff. Let me just tell you this, the way Chenoa works, everybody qualifies. It's only an adjustment to pricing if they don't meet the AMI category. The 135% they use of the areas right now that are hot, to be honest with you, are covering huge amounts of people. This 135% makes a lot of the hot areas top $100,000 in qualifying income and being available at the best pricing. So don't let this concept of there being an AMI limit deter you from bringing the DPA program into an opportunity for every single one of your clients. DTI is very liberal in here. Again, a lot of the other DPA programs with their second sign investors have some DTI caps. I only bring that into play on manufactured homes. For any other type of property, I'm fully able to use AUS limits for those loans, and we do fund up to the max. I will throw out on manufactured homes. I do need an AUS approval. I can't manually underwrite those people. I will throw a bone though. I can do single wide. So if you guys are out there with some single wide sitting on the market, I can now do them on this Chenoa as a DPA opportunity. Again, we're covering all the property types with this purchase. Another one of the huge aspects of the Chenoa versus everybody else, the way I've seen it, is that, again, I had mentioned the other investors, the other DP opportunities, they really apply a lot of overlays and their own guidelines to the first mortgages. So you can see right here, allowed 4001. This is HUD's guideline. This is the guideline that we're using 99.9% of the time in this Chenoa loan. It's one of the reasons that makes it so much more beneficial than all the others. Some very successful partners have added other DPA resources that are able to be stacked behind our own DPA benefit package, grants, gifts that are available, of course, gifts from families for closing costs and whatnot, but also other HUD approved DPA agencies that may be available in localities. Arizona does have some city, state, and jurisdictional areas that are offering $5,000 to $10,000 as closing costs if somebody will commit to living somewhere. So those are all stackable. Remember about that. Let's see what else.
Quick, Todd.
Hey, Justin.
Let me interject. Sorry, Jorge, I apologize. I was actually sitting because I sent a Zoom link out, and I was sitting in the meeting room on my Zoom link going, where is everybody? I sent you an email too. I'm like, what the heck? And then I didn't even notice that you sent out your own. So anyway, just want to do the intro for myself too. I am the AE on the account. Todd and I are a team, but I'm going to let him take over. Usually I do an intro, but that's okay. I know he's all over it. I didn't want to ruin the flow, but I am here anyway.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Again, the 4000.1 is our guide in all these Chenoa related guidelines for the first mortgages. All the opportunities on a standard FHA loan would be available. Getting to the idea about the Chenoa fund and the forgiveness aspect. Again, as I mentioned, this isn't a current opportunity because of pricing. We still have it in there because we do expect it to come back and play, whether that's pushed up interest rates, which some people already have pushed up higher than we are, without providing any of the opportunity, or some more stability in the market to give us some additional pricing incentive. When that when that forgivable aspect does come back into play, I want you folks to understand, right here's a guideline about being able to have that second mortgage forgiven, 120 payments on the first mortgage. So I know that pricing and rates is just ancillary to your role, but we're reaching out to you because I think this is important. I think that you guys having all the knowledge that you can, all the tools up front to pre-qualify your borrowers, making sure that we're all working effectively, efficiently is key to success for all of us. So with that said, I mean, all these DPA loans, as you know, the first mortgage rates are proprietary. They are higher than market. Every single one of these DPA loans that you're moving into with your borrower, this is an acquisition vehicle. This isn't a long-term financing loan. The decisions made to use it need to be based on short-term financing, not long-term financing. Every one of these is another loan 12 months from now from the originator. That should be the goal. It should be the implied plan with your borrowers. The idea of staying at an increased interest rate for 10 years to forgive a 5% second is not financially sound. So again, the forgiveness sounds great, but focus on the idea when this fact that forgivable will allow people to purchase a little more money because they don't purchase a little more buying power because there's not a second mortgage involved in the qualifying process. So real quick, do we have any questions on what how the product works or how people qualify?
You in layman's term break down the difference of forgiveness versus repayable, because I don't think a lot of agents understand what that difference is.
Absolutely. And again, that idea of deciding whether to go on a repayable plan or a forgivable plan program is one of the first tranches that you decide upon. So the idea of a forgivable, the benefit package that's coming behind the first mortgage, the second mortgage, a forgivable aspect does not have a second mortgage that comes into qualifying. It's a 0% interest with no payment due. The loan just sits there. It's what you hear of a silent second. That's what a forgivable program would allow. The idea that there's no second mortgage connected, again, allows you to push that first mortgage up a little bit and qualify for a little more. When you're on a repayable second, and again, both of these apply whether you're taking the 3.5 or the 5% package. And you know what, I'll pop onto that for a second. The forgivable one requires a time period of the first mortgage to be paid on the current loan that's done at inception before that second is forgiven. So let's just get this out there. These DPA loans, and I will share pricing with you guys. These DPA loans right now in the market are running at 6.75 on the first mortgage and 8.75, 2 points above on the second mortgage. So the idea that we're putting people into a first mortgage at 6.75 with the concept that we're a full point or more lower in a current market, that's not a long-term situation. So the repayable with the second mortgage that comes into play with qualifying, that second mortgage again does run at a 8.75 interest rate for most deals. It is also on a 10-year term. So with that shortened term, those payments, they do come into play. It's not just a $12 payment or a $37 payment or a zero payment. It does amount to $100 to $200 for most purchases. So that will affect the qualifying amount. It does need to come into effect in the front ratio qualifying. And so therefore it effectively limits the purchasing power. The repayable is the only program right now that we're working with. So let's talk again about what the loan itself provides. The 5% package that we are doing 99% of our loans on right now provides the first mortgage, standard FHA 96.5% first, coupled with a 5% second that's provided by Chenoa that covers the 3.5% down payment. So your entire 100% of your purchase price is covered. And it provides 1.5 points for your borrowers to utilize towards those closing costs. Normally, that is geared towards the originator. The pricing here doesn't incorporate any compensation for a lender, a broker. So that 1.5 is nominally geared towards that. So with that said, That is the extent of the benefit package that a DPA product is going to give somebody today. Now, the major difference between the market today that we're talking about and what may have been available a year ago before we lost the DPA products is that a lender may have also been able to throw in some additional lender credit to provide a substantial portion of those closing costs needed. At this point in time in the market, I don't know any lender who's doing it like that. I do know there are a couple other opportunities out there where people may throw a third or whatnot. Every one of those that I've seen, again, that's where you get your hooks in the first mortgage, and you're only half your people are going to be able to utilize that loan because of their credit score or the DTI requirements or whatever that investor is feeling that day. And Chenoa is not like that. You can count on Chenoa from day one to operate exactly like it needs to be, exactly following HUD's guidelines, and it gets it done.
Could I interject real quick, Todd?
Please do.
Did you go over real quick the difference between the HFAs and
I haven't got there yet. Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, I was actually on the phone with, I used to work retail, before I came back into wholesale. And I have a very good working knowledge on DPAs in general, and have been funding them for a long time, but I will tell you this. When you're looking at an HFA loan, in California, it's called Cal HFA, there's the GSAs, the HFAs, when you're dealing with those right now, the rates on those are actually in the 7s. So I will tell you, they do a first, second, and a possible third on that deal. And so when you're comparing payment on the Chenoa with the repayable second and the HFA, it's going to be pretty comparable. And I'm going to interject here because I'm going to log off in about 15 because I got to take off to a broker lunch. But I'm going to interject real quick. So, if you have anything over a 45 DTI, Chenoa DPA is about your only option. If you have no income limits, like your borrower makes too much money and you're outside the income limits, Chenoa is your only option. If you have non-occupant co-signers, Chenoa is your only option, and so with that being said, there are so many things that Chenoa does that the other DPAs don't. And the last point I'm going to make is, when it comes to a third-party underwrite, all of the DPAs except for Chenoa require that. And so if you're going to go in for a quick close and close, in 30 days, good luck on an HFA. And so the Chenoa DPA is completely done in-house. There's no third-party anything. And so I bring that up because when you're comparing apples to apples, on the repayable versus the soft second and what the HFA might offer as far as the soft second, it's not apples to apples. It's apples to watermelon. So take that with a grain of salt. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there to you guys real quick, but I'm going to go on mute because my gardener's right outside the window.
Thanks, Justin. So I'd appreciate questions. If anybody has any questions on anything I can expand on. I know that our audience is a little, different than our norm. I'm expecting to maybe see some interesting questions, but please feel free.
In the chat box, Todd.
Oh, thank you.
Hey guys, I just want to say that I personally used this program to purchase my house 6-7 years ago now. So I love this program. I mean, that down payment, hell, I use that money to, down payment assistance money. I use it for the 3.5, down payment. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be in this house right now.
Let me here you go. Here's some sales stuff too, because with the different audience, to be honest with you, I'm a little moving not quite as straight as I do, but listen to this. The DPA programs in the past, again, we use them to get people into homes. The people that we're finding right now who are wanting to participate with DPAs are a lot different than I've seen historically. Last year we'd be taking all our low credit score borrowers who everybody's trying to get into a home and seeing what we can do for them. It's kind of a last ditch effort. It's not the case anymore at all. What we are seeing is a lot of these people are 680 plus credit scores. everybody these days is cash flow rich and cash poor. The folks who are determining that, you know what, with the real estate market where it is and with the mortgage market the way it is, I'm still going to get in the game. Those guys are happy to participate. They're excited to have the opportunity. The idea that they can have this great cash flow. They're never going to have a down payment. They've accepted it. The world's not going to change, but I want to get in. So let's do it. Wanting to get in is spearheading this game right now. And so this is a tool that's utilized. And I can't even tell you how fun and exciting it is. It's so much different than it was years ago. The people that are participating are just a joy. So yes, these people are different and they're excited about the opportunity. You know, we talked about the loan structure a little bit, and again with the different audience, I just want to take another moment to stress again, when you're pre-qualifying these borrowers for this opportunity, with the pricing opportunities and structure that I talked about, it may not have been as apparent to an originator as to you guys. Every single one of these transactions that we're qualifying the borrower for, we need to find a way to gap the hard closing costs. Your broker's, you know, fee is nominally covered, the down payment is covered. As a lender, I don't have any opportunity to throw in other closing costs, other monies to cover closing costs. So we will be looking to, and it will be necessary for your borrower to have some money. As the DPA market changed, and Melissa, as you mentioned, they went away at a time. We all noticed that. The specific person who had helped has changed. You know, as we had all our TVD people approved, and, you know, I make sure to let you guys know that our company, along with partnership with George, we will pre-approve your borrowers without a property. We'll get them fully credit approved with underwriting conditions out there, and you can get them shopping and being able to submit offers contingent only to property conditions. I mean, that's a possibility. But with that said, again, last year, point or two for closing costs from the lender, not possible. Every single one of these people needs to have access to $5,000 to $10,000 to cover all the hard closing costs. That includes prepaids, impounds, escrow and title fees, such as that. We need to find a way to gap that. That's why I talked about the third layer of DPA assistance. Search for those other HUD approved agencies that may be thrown in your county or in your city or somewhere. Encourage your folks to line up gifts. I mean, we're FHA here, so everything that FHA would allow to cover closing costs is possible in this arena. I have another chat here. Let's get back to the chat. You're saying some of the AUS mortgages also allow DPAs. An AUS mortgage, we do use an automated underwriting system with our DPAs. Absolutely. Standard DU is what we use for that. We're also able to use Freddie Mac's LP. We are also able to manual underwrite if an automated system doesn't work. Being able to utilize the automated system, though, allows us to take the DTIs, the debt to income ratios, all the way up to the limits that HUD allows. So that's a huge advantage to having, like Justin said, the manual investor secondary underwrite and full authority on what can go or what cannot. Somebody also, George had chimed in if that meant jumbo. Let's talk about the high balance opportunity on a DPA. And I'll just advise you, it's not quite there yet. Just like the repayable, I just worked on one yesterday with somebody. The benefit wasn't there with the pricing that we have available in the market today. So
yeah, I want to interject real quick. Even
Sure.
when it was there, I mean, we're the top funder for Chenoa in the country by a mile. We do a lot of Chenoas and have for many, many, many years. I have funded one, and I'm the top producer at Orion by a long shot. I do a lot of volume, and we have funded one high balance loan. With the new guidelines that rolled out a couple months ago, more of them would fit, but always pricing is a major concern and has been on the high balance aspect with the less yield that's going on. So for all intents and purposes, repayable second conforming balance. Yeah, that's what it is. Sorry.
Definitely where we are.
I wanted to interject before I have to take off to get on the road.
So I'm gonna I'm just gonna throw out here for a second. We're not gonna go over anything really deep. because this is, I'm throwing George under the bus here.
Real quick, Erica asked, just one
Oh,
quick.
thank you.
Erica asked, how do we know if they're making too much money? And the beauty with Chenoa is there's no income cap, you know. I mean, literally in Southern California, I've seen people make 300 grand a year without a dime to save buying, you know, Chenoa.
Yeah, there's a little pricing adjustment for those people who are above the cap, but they are not excluded from the program. HUD does issue some charts that are county specific, and you're welcome, you know, George can go ahead and get this information out to you guys, these links to this, and you can check that. But in reality, there is no limit. We'll go ahead and do that loan for anybody. I don't want to do our normal presentation on this. It's for a user, but I do want to just show you, and George, I apologize if I'm throwing you under the bus, but I did want to show you that George has access to a system like this that is able to create co-branded flyers, and both for print and social media. So this may be something, these kind of things, may be something that that you guys can work on together to bring to the table some materials to help the DPA. The DPA has its own set of, they're in here somewhere. I'm not as versed on this. I'm not the usual person. Hey, Jade, who gives this presentation, but I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of stuff available. They're able to do partners, account information, and print these materials with your guys as well. So again, another benefit that we as a partner are bringing to George's outfit, and hopefully moving on to you guys. Additional questions? Second home, this is only for an owner occupied purchase. It is a standard FHA loan, so it is only owner occupied purchase with all the other FHA details that come into play.
Do you have a conventional option opening up anytime soon?
There is I have not seen it come live again yet. We still have the program codes in existence. The trouble is where the conventional pricing grids are. I mean, the FHA is working off of the FHA grids, and you know, there's a little more oomph there. But the conventional grids being basically private market, I mean, they're going to take a long time, I think, to recover. So that's probably a little farther out. There are a few opportunities, and I appreciate the question. There are some people who just can't buy FHA, and then the loan amounts come into play as well. But right now, that conventional option just isn't there.
Yeah, so guys, all these clients that will do a DPA on, it'll be on an FHA first mortgage.
George and Todd, I had a question, two-part question. Just for the sake of notes, what is the ideal avatar for someone with a down payment assistance? So if I'm an agent and I'm talking on the phone and they're telling me like some of the opportunities that they have on the lending wise, I automatically think like, oh, this is like the perfect person for this. And most likely it's going to be the only option. So I have some scattered notes as in like, if they're 45 DTI, it's like the only option, or they have to have closing costs. I mean, so is there any bullet points you can tell me on like the ideal? I know every case scenario, but the ideal one.
Well, I mean, everybody at 600 above, that even as a manual underwrite is at 40% on the front or 50% on the back, or an AUS approval. And realistically, I mean, AUS approval these days on the FHA side, you know, your 600 credit score, you're probably not going to get an approval at a max DTI at 46.99. You're probably wanting to keep that front below 45 if you're at the lower end of the credit scores. I'm telling you that if you're at 640 credit score, as long as there isn't anything major wrong with your borrower as far as credit, you're going to get approvals up to the max. And that's these questions. I mean, I would rather have everybody over 600 try and see what we could do for them. The TBD process is quick and easy. We're able to get these borrowers. Me personally, I'm willing to work with George to pre-qualify these borrowers as quick as we can, to run through as many prospects as you have. And I'd love to see this just being a huge tool for you guys. So as far as the ideal person, I mean, 600 credit score and they're breathing and they got some cash flow. Let's see what they got going on. Realistically, anybody over the 620 that's AUS approved is going to be a golden customer, golden. And that's why running that AUS real quick, right in the get-go as a TBD is critical. That way we can make that differentiation, whether we need to look a little further and define an opportunity for them or whether they're a free-for-all. Mostly you're going to find a free-for-all. Is that-
And
Yeah, go
then
ahead.
stupid question, but I take it like if I'm the buyer, I come in with the down payment and you guys are helping me with my closing costs. Is
No,
that kind
actually-
of in theory or vice
Yeah,
versa?
no, see, that's the 5% package covers your down payment. What you need your folks to cover is the closing costs, the hard costs, the title and escrow fee, prepaids and impounds. And you guys are in Cali, right? So, I mean, you're talking somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 on a normal purchase. And again, all your normal sources are available. Seller paid closing costs are coming back into the market with a rampage, to be honest with you. Gifts from family is absolutely fine. And again, there is some other resources out there. I don't have any lender credit available, unfortunately, to throw in on this closing cost, but we're going to cover the down payment in every one of these. The down payment is going to be covered. The George's fee as a broker, that's covered. All we got to cover is the hard closing costs. So again, that comes to $6,000 to $10,000. What I'm finding is that the benefit, and again, without being able to bring in additional lender credit, we're not to the same benefit we were prior with these programs. What it does end up doing though, is you got your 650 credit score borrower who doesn't have $18,000 or $20,000 for their 3.5% down and some closing costs, you're going to get him in with $8,000 because we're going to cover the down payment. So that's going to be, that's the net effect. And that's all our goal is to get the folks in the homes so we can get them in that process, get them established as homeowners and, then move on to life with them and continue business. So.
Todd, you have 2 more chats, which I think would be a good segue into
Thank you.
kind of left off.
Interest rates for the DPA. So the interest rates right now for most every situation on the 5% is 6.75 on a 30-year fix on the first, and that's a standard FHA loan with standard upfront MIP and standard monthly MI. And the second mortgage interest rate is at 8.75. It runs 2 points above whatever the first is. There is a little bit of movement that can happen on the first. You can go down a little bit, but with the short-term financing idea that this is how you're basing your decisions, it's not advisable. There's no reason to buy down a rate except in the very rare instance of needing to have a property and having to qualify. It just takes more money. If that's what we're doing, more than likely we can fashion on a standard 3.5% down. So what you're looking for is those people who at the rates that we're at can qualify, whether that's manual AS approved. So gets back to that other question. That is the key right there. Just making sure they qualify. Let's see, interest rate. I may have missed this. Plenty of these phone companies also interest rate buy downs. Well, there you go. We do have a buy down. You can buy it down, but it goes against, it's kind of counterintuitive and also almost counteracts where we're trying to go with it. We're trying to put these people into a home with the least amount of money down combined with the highest qualifying amount. And so to bring in the idea that we're going to buy down the rate into that calculation kind of defeats the whole purpose. I mean, again, there are times that that may be necessary, but for the most part, it just doesn't work into the overall scenario or format of what the loan provides and what you're trying to do. I can tell you that, just a little bit about what you have here with George and myself. I mean, I've been in this business since 1997 and been with this company for the last 4 years. I was with my last company for 5 years. DPAs are something that I've always lived and breathed. So for me to be able to, give these presentations and explain to you why it's a huge product to use, it's so easy for me. And I would love to be able to continue the conversations and work with you guys out individually to be able to come to that same comfort level. Whatever it takes, let us know.
So staying on this topic, some down payment assistance programs such as Home Plus, Home in 5 in certain instances require an upfront fee from the buyer, like an origination fee in addition to. Okay, perfect. So that's one of the benefits of Genoa. For instance, depending on which retail lender that you guys might be working with, they'll have an additional 1 to 2 point origination cost to the borrower just for using the program. So that's a huge win with Genoa, that there is no additional point or 2 points eating up some of the assistance that we can provide to the borrower. Because in certain instances with other products, let's say that we can give them a 3% assistance. If it costs an upfront fee of a point, in reality, the borrower is only gaining 2% in assistance. So you're not getting that here with Genoa, which is a win.
That's exactly why that math schematic that you're talking about, exactly why when you do price and the forgivable comes up and whatnot, the benefit is not there. If it costs 1.5 points to use, your 3.5 is in that only 2. With that borrower, I'll make a 3.5% work is what will happen. So the 5% is really the one that's bringing all the benefit and getting all the action. And I would just encourage you guys to get out there and pre-qualify your borrowers, push them over to George to get them fully TBD credit approved, and work with your clients to get out there and be homeowners.
That itself is another win. With most of these down payment assistance programs, you cannot do a TBD credit approval up front until you have a live deal. So knowing that you have a fully approved buyer using Genoa up front before you even go into contract, goes a long way with your sellers.
I can't even tell you how much important I think that is for a successful transaction. I mean, in this market right now, looking at a DPA that's presented as a DPA, you're going to get passed by. But when you can show an approval that has only collateral conditions, and what does it matter? That seller's going to run. Yeah, you guys, my mind's going so many different ways. I really want to be able to help any way I can. What else do you guys think we can do for you? Does anybody have any questions?
Who is this not for?
Well, it's not for anybody with a 600 or below credit score. It's not for somebody who has any significant lengths in the last year, because I won't be able to manually underwrite it and you won't get an AUS approval. It's not for your high balance customer. And that, that's actually indicative of the program itself. Not only is the pricing not in line to be able to use that, the whole premise of the DPA is not really, it's a very fine line when you have income qualifying and pricing considerations and you got these high incomes. It just doesn't really work. It's not intended. So your high balance customer isn't really it. It is intended for markets everywhere, which is an important thing. The AMI being such a small piece of it really brings every market into place. And it's also available for all property types. And, I have yet to see a single wide come in. We've only been live on them for 6 weeks, but I was excited to see an opportunity because I can't do a single wide manufactured home on any other program that I have, except for this one. So that's a little bit of a plus. Depending upon your market, there may be some specific purposes. I would just encourage you to get out there and blanket. The advertising that we can come up with that actually pigeonholes these products, it accentuates the needs or opportunities of these products are ready to go for social media. You can have George get some stuff together for you and you guys can get it there. Get the phone ringing, get the clients in front of you, and let's just start the wheel. That's what I would encourage.
So high balance just means like anything above the conforming limit in your county. So we're referring to loan amounts.
Yeah, so FHA does have limits that are county specific. It's not the standard conventional balance. It is the FHA high balance limit. So that may be lower than the 647. You do need to check the county on that.
And a question for you, George. In the event, an agent sends you a client and they feel that this is the program that probably is going to work best for them, so they have a general senses of it, but they just want to find out more. They don't want to give you anything. But what's the phrase that you're saying? Just hoping for like any brand new agents to kind of really like embrace what's going to be said to the potential borrower in regards to this. Kind of a little bit of your sales pitch on getting them to move a little bit forward to it. What is that thing being said to the client?
Just say, like, if you have some funds to minimal funds, it's worth a shot to look at our down payment assistance program. We can cover up to 3.5% of your down payment. And then, you know, if we're short on anything, we can look at potentially getting a gift or asking for any seller concessions. I just keep it sweet and simple. You know, like as a realtor, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole and make the whole conversation about the objection, because then you're going to get absolutely nowhere. You know, I would just acknowledge it like, hey, it's available, and then pivot. There's absolutely no point in just, you know, wasting a phone call going down the rabbit hole.
Thank you.
Yeah, the idea that everybody qualifies means that, well, with the 600 credit score minimum, I guess, is that everybody has an opportunity. It may not be able to get them the opportunity they want. They may only qualify for 335 instead of 425, but everybody has an opportunity. So collect the information, get the prospects, turn them over to George. We'll maximize the opportunity and get that back out to them so that you guys are, out of that equation. You can stay that rah person, keeping it moving forward no matter what's going on.
Yeah, it's just having another tool in the toolbox, you know.
Let's see. High balance credit card customers. So I have a question here, not for high balance customers. When we're talking about high balance, we are talking about a specific mortgage term that's related to the loan amount in a particular area. FHA in particular, what we're talking about, does have the country split up into MSA zones that do have specific limits to a loan in that area. These limits may not, in a lot of areas, actually probably more than not, have a lower loan amount than the 647-200 that is a conventional standard balance. And some of the, I actually don't even know how down it goes, $300,000 and $400,000 in some places. So it is something to watch out for, and do understand what that limit is that you're working with in your area.
I believe that limit loan amount wise here is like 431.
That sounds about
431,000 change.
Yep, that is
Off the
an
top.
applicable number. Yeah.
Looks like Susan had a question if we have any conventional program with DPA. No, right now it's FHA only. But I mean, honestly, I believe you would ask that because some listing agents or sellers won't consider FHA deals. But at the end of the day, we can close this in 30 days or less. And I think that's the most important thing for sellers. The only reason that you wouldn't go with this program is if you don't feel the home would appraise or pass inspection, right? But other than that, like, we can move this deal quickly, same as if it wasn't a conventional deal.
That is entirely true. I mean, with the idea that we don't require any second signs, that this is a fully delegated program for us on our books, they're basically just an FHA loan. We have one additional set of disclosures that goes out at one time, doesn't hold us up at all. And for all intents and purposes, it is exactly like an FHA loan. It's going to be subject to your appraisal turn time for the most part, and we're rock and rolling. And if you get your folks fully qualified and TBD approved, you're only that much better.
Yeah, I would submit these with confidence, you know, and then once the offer is submitted, I'll jump on the line with the listing agent, just second voice the deal, you know, and sell it and go to bat for our client. So
sounds like a plan, sir.
Any other questions? We have quite a bit of agents. George can answer any other loan related questions if you guys have something that like maybe popped up, or a little repeat on anything that was said earlier before we all go on to our days. All right, Todd, I think you made us Chenoa experts today. I don't know.
That's actually my goal.
Rewind it.
That is my goal. And again, the audience is a little different, so I had a little tough time wrangling my mind a little bit here and there. But no, that is my goal, to make you guys experts in what you need to know to be successful. And I'm excited for the opportunity, and I welcome the chance. So I think that I'm scared if I leave. Oh, no, I can leave. Take care, you guys.
thank you, Todd. Appreciate it.
Chat for manufactured homes. We have 640 credit score overlay.
And I do also need an AUS approval, so work with George on that to make sure we're not a manual underwrite. We would want to watch the manufactured homes very carefully, just to make sure.
So 640 on just manufactured, down to
And-
600 on anything else.
Correct. All right, guys. Till next
Well,
time.
thank you, Todd. Take care.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, George. You all have a good day.